All right, welcome back. We are here with our 13th, Project 13 installment of the series of Learning Fusion 360. And today we are going to draw and model a Frisbee. So here's our schematic. And this is probably a little bit different for you. We haven't used this tool before, so it's all new. And what we're going to do is see this center line right here that goes through it? And that's the axis. So it's actually like right through the heart of this going downward. And then it goes right through there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to draw this half, and then we're going to use a new tool called the Revolve tool. And so really what we want to do is just draw this front profile and half of it. That's it. So we are going to start our drawing, turn our origin on, and we are going to draw this in the front plane. So I'm creating a new sketch. I'm going to change my units to millimeters again, and I'm going to save this. So Project 13 Frisbee and name. Alright, and so what we're going to do now is I'm going to kind of get this origin off to the side, and what we're going to do is so we'll draw kind of a bottom line to get to this point, and then we'll start up here and draw that line and kind of go from there. And so this doesn't always, this is another one of those times where they don't give you every single thing that you needed as far as details go. And so what we're going to do is, oh, I guess they did tell you right there, 160. So we're going to half these measurements, right? We're going from a center line out to this out here. So let's draw our center line first. So we'll get a line, make it a construction line, and we'll start at the origin, and we're just going to go up kind of a random number. Doesn't matter how far. And then we're going to, we can just leave it. All right, so there's our construction line. And then we need a real line. So I'm going to turn the construction back off. And starting at this coincident to the origin, starting at the bottom, we're going to go out half of our diameter. So 240 is, and there's a couple things that Fusion does that I haven't explained to you maybe that you guys might like if you don't want to do math and things like that. And so if I know that this is 240 and I need half of that, I can actually punch in there 240 divided by 2, and it automatically does the math to get me to 120. If there's ever a time where you don't, it kind of has a calculator built into it. Right? And so we know that from the center out to this point right here, that's this, and what that line is it's right here where the start of this curve begins. And so it's at 160. So let's get another line. And just somewhere up on this center line, we're going to come out here. And we'll do 160 divided by 2. Alright, and so now we are 80 out there. And the total thickness of our Frisbee is 35. And so if we dimension from here to here, we want to make that 35 and enter. So now we have kind of the overall height of this set up here. And if we go back and take a look at this, we have our 35, we've got those, and now it's really just time to worry about this curve right here. And we got some stuff going on here that I know part of. So this means a conic curve. So I know how to set that. And I don't know exactly what the RHO stands for. I think it might be something in the geometry field of like how that curve is set up. But what we need to do is use this 0.5 and the 60 to do that. And so let's go back to Fusion. I will show you how to do that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create this, and it's all the way down here in this conic curve. And we want to select this point and this point. And we get this kind of crazy looking curve. And you could pull it straight up from this dot. And what we want it to do is to come straight out here. Right? And we want it to kind of go over a little bit like that. And for that, we want it to be 0.5, all right? And then we can just hit enter. Sorry about that. And so now we have the 0.5 set of this conic curve, and now we got to worry about the 60 part. And so if we take a look at this, and we go to our dimension tool, we want to dimension from that to where that begins, and we want that at 60. And you can see that that kind of resembles this outside curve that we want. All right, and so we're good with that outside profile. And now what we want to do is create the thickness of this Frisbee, right? And it tells us that it's 3 right here, but then we've got some goofy stuff here so that it's more weighted on this outside edge. And so what we're going to do is, another new tool that you haven't used yet is an offset. I'm just going to be in my select tool for now. So I hit escape on my keyboard to get to that. I'm going to select that and that. Whoops. Select that. Now I have to hold down shift on the keyboard so that you can select multiple things. So I clicked on both of those while holding shift. Okay. And we're going to go up here to offset. And you can drag it either way you want. We're going to take it in, and we want to go 3 and enter. And so that sets that little offset for us. All right, so that we know that now. And now we can look at kind of that goofy portion, which is, excuse me, this right here. So we have a line that goes from the bottom and it ends on that curve at 95 degrees. And then at the bottom, it's 4 millimeters in from the bottom. So at first, we're just going to draw a random, somewhat random line that starts anywhere on this bottom line. Okay, I'll get close. And ends anywhere on that curve. Okay, and so now if I were to hit escape, I go back to my select tool, I can move this and it shifts and moves, and I could grab this point and move it out. Nothing's defined. And so what we're going to do is set some parameters on that, obviously. So let's hit D on our keyboard for dimensioning, and we'll go from this point to this point. And we want that at 4. Okay, and now with our dimension tool still selected, get this whole line and then this whole bottom line, and it's going to let us set our angle there, and we want that at 95. Okay, and so you can see that this still hasn't closed to the shape that I'm making, and that's because this end down here is only closed with the construction line, which doesn't help us. We need to get a solid line and go from here to here, and you can see that becomes shaded now. And so now we've got our drawing. We could trim this if we want, but it's not necessary at all. It's just an extra step that we don't need to do. We've got everything done. Now what we need to do is revolve this sucker. So how do we do that? We are going to hit Finish Sketch, and then let's get to a kind of home isometric view and zoom out a little bit. And then we've been using this extrude tool pretty much, that's it. That's how we make it a solid. We've been drawing it in a sketch, and then we've been extruding it one direction. What the Revolve tool does is it creates a solid that wraps, instead of just pulling out one direction, is you'll have like an axis and it will pull it all the way around as it, if you hover over buttons, they can tell you what it does. So we're going to do that. We're going to hit Revolve, and it automatically selects the profile. See how it all turns blue? If yours doesn't turn blue, you want to select that profile, and then it automatically kind of asks us, what do you want it to be the axis? And we're going to use our construction line, and as soon as I click that, it whips it all the way around. And you could, if you, depending on what you were doing, we obviously want this to be a full 360, so we're going to leave this alone, and we're just going to hit OK on that. And here is our Frisbee. Let me just double check that and see that it, new body, yep, we're good. And there is our Frisbee. And this line's okay, that doesn't really matter. That's just there because of construction purposes. We could get rid of that if we needed to, but it's fine for this. Let's go ahead and we'll leave that origin on. One more thing I want to show you guys, and this is how we're going to turn this in. So let's do some other things first, and then this new thing I want to show you we'll do last. Right click on body, and let's assign a physical material. Let me move my camera here. And this time we want, I believe this was made of polyethylene. So it's a plastic. I don't know if it'll be in here or not. Let's see what they've got. PVC, plastic, polycarbonate, and here is polyethylene. This is a Frisbee. Let's go high density. We'll make a really expensive Frisbee. So there's our Frisbee. What color did they have theirs? Kind of a red-orange. So let's close this, and then let's paint it. So we'll change the appearance also. Open the paint, and let's choose a new color. Maybe. And let's make a green Frisbee. Alright. Get this back out of the way. I don't even know what this is. Is it kind performance issues? We'll do that later. Okay, so now we've got our Frisbee finalized. We've assigned a material and we have painted it. And so what we're going to do is kind of give you guys a new way to analyze, inspect objects that you've created. And so up here on this toolbar, we also have this whole little section of inspection. And what we're going to do is do a section analysis. All right. So when that drops down, select section analysis. It's a lot of S's there. And then it asks which plane do you want to cut on. So if you think about our planes, right, we have that would be the front. The XY is the front plane, right? And the XZ is our top plane. They're kind of highlighting. And the YZ would be the right side plane, right? And this is the one that we want to select. And if I just try to get to it, it's not letting me. You can orbit underneath to get to it, but if you don't want to do that ever, you can always just go over here and select it this way too. So I'm going to choose that, and you can see what's happened. It's placed to basically cut the Frisbee in half temporarily, just for a view, and then we can hit OK, and that stays there. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to turn this origin off, and we are going to turn it in just like this. And so what this does for me is it gives me a chance to kind of see the inside, that you guys drew this line correctly, that you weighted it correctly, all that good stuff. Oh, I totally forgot a feature. If you were to go to throw this Frisbee right now, this would be a sharp corner and this would be a sharp corner. So let's go ahead and add a fillet in there too. And so for the fillet, let's do, I want to go over here to this edge actually. That one. And that one. And we're just going to do a 1 millimeter fillet. And we can hit OK on that. And then this right here, this would cause this would not cut you, this inside sharp corner, but what that does is it gives it a weak spot that would give it a chance to break, basically. And so then we're going to add a 3 millimeter fillet on the inside of there, and that will kind of strengthen that corner right there. All right, so now we're good to go. All right, so let's get our normal view, and our body's right there. We'll right-click on that. We'll bring up our properties window, and then this is, click off of that so we can see the Frisbee there. And then this is what you would turn in. So here's the final product. Everything's all done. All right, thank you.